You and I.
Here we are now, down at Golf Central. Now, we get a lot of
I haven't been asked
questions.
this question or
No,
whatever's going on.
I haven't asked that yet. So, we get a lot of questions, a lot of people ask you a lot of different things.
Yep.
Right? What I would like to ask
Face
you...
the camera, mate. People want to see you.
What I would like to ask Al, being a professional golfer as such,
Okay.
compared to myself,
It certainly feels...
makeup of
awkward.
golf sets,
Yeah.
right? So, they've changed over the years. So, if you look...
What do you mean? Like,
I was looking at Johnny Miller's set the other day.
yeah.
And he had a 1 wood, 2 wood, 4 wood, 2 iron down or pitching wedge, a sand wedge and a putter.
Yeah,
so
right.
it seems to be, back in those days, they had very little short clubs.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, so his pitching wedge was at 50 degrees,
Yep.
sand wedge at 58. That's all he had
Yeah.
in their bags, as where now, if you have a look at it, most people carry, what, a 4 wedge system?
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing. It's because now the lofts, you got to remember, of say a 4 iron, let's say at 22 degrees, which is it's like a Mizuno 4 iron, so
Yeah.
it's weakish.
Yep,
You got to remember that was nearly a 2 iron 20, 30 years ago.
yep,
So everything's kind of been staggered back a little bit.
yep.
And you got to remember back in the 70s and the 60s, a pitching wedge, and then they had one other wedge. That was it. Like there was no such thing as a lob wedge. There's no such thing as 60 odd degrees. It was
Yeah.
only mid 50s, and that's as
Yep.
far as it was.
Do you think a lot of golfers would benefit from maybe not having so many clubs in their bag?
Have thoughts on both of them. If you just have a 58, let's say that's your highest wedge.
Yep.
You go a pitching wedge of 50, then a 58, or a 50, then a 56, something along those lines.
Yep.
If you had one wedge,
Yep.
it'd make you become pretty proficient in that wedge, wouldn't it? You've
Well,
only got one option if you want to hit it higher.
Jack Nicklaus always said that he chipped all around the green, only with a pitching wedge.
Yep.
And he only ever used the sand wedge out of the bunker, or if he needed to throw it up over something.
And that's why they call it a sand wedge.
Yeah,
because
so
originally-
he used it from other lies.
Of course.
But it was more like if I need to go over a bunker.
Predominantly used out of sand.
Otherwise, he just pitched with everything else.
And I think that's the thing. So it's, if you've got, say, 4 wedges, so you got a pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge,
Yep.
well, maybe you have too many options. And maybe you bamboozle yourself and kind of second guess yourself.
Well, then why?
How many times? Here we go. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
How many times have you had a shot is one club? You know what club it is.
Yep.
There's no indecision whatsoever. Oh, I should have used the sand
fatigue.
wedge. Yeah, around the greens, whatever.
Around the green.
It's like an impossible shot, like a shot that you go, this is so hard. You know that you're going to either hit a 58 or a 60 or whatever. It's never in doubt that it's anything else, and you pull a shot off.
Oh, a few times.
Because to me, you're so focused on that club. The decision is that club. You don't have any other thoughts that it can be another club in your bag.
Yeah.
So if you only have that one club, bang, you just get proficient at it.
The first time we played at Crowburn,
Yeah.
when we played that par 5, and I put that little wedge over the bunker right next to the hole.
Yes.
The little putt. I knew exactly what I was going to hit.
And that's the thing. So comment below on
No doubt.
if you agree or what your wedge system is and what you kind of think about that question, that Richo.
So why the lean towards a lot of longer clubs back then?
Because a 2 iron was going as far as a 4 iron these days. So you almost needed that. But again, the woods didn't go as far. They spun a lot more, and the irons haven't changed.
Because I mean,
heaps.
Harry Varden won a British, the Open
The Open.
Championship with 7 clubs.
See, I think 14 clubs is great, but again, you could probably do with half that. Maybe we need to do a 5 club thing.
Yep.
We choose 5 clubs and go from there. And I don't think you'd play that bad.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, you've got a club for every 8 metres or 10 metres or whatever, but it's not a necessity. You remember the guys back in the days had what would be considered a drive or a mashie, a thingamajig. I don't even know what
Just
they call these
interesting that
clubs.
there was a lot of longer clubs back then and a lot of shorter clubs now.
Yeah, because the shorter
the
clubs are
scores are pretty
because of the
much the
stronger lofted.
It's
So-
pretty much the same.
Oh, the scores haven't changed much.
No.
And that's the thing. We've got another couple of videos coming about persimmon woods and older woods.
Yep.
And even though the distance is a little bit longer with the new stuff, the handicaps haven't really changed. 20 shots or 10 shots in...
Not dramatic.
No, it's not a big... It's a few. We've already done a video on that. Check that out. But it's only changed by a few shots over the last 20 years. So...
Yep.
You were saying about the persimmon wood. Anyway, we'll get onto that. It's a bit more enjoyable. It's easier for the average golfer to hit clubs these days than it was 30 years ago.
Yes.
Cool. Did I answer the question okay?
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Oh,
I
thanks.
still think we've probably got too many clubs in our bag.
No, and that's the thing. You don't need to play with that. And I think that's the good thing about, say, juniors, learning to play golf with
Yep.
a driver, a hybrid, mid-iron, wedge, and a putter. Like, what more do you need? And that gets you proficient in your short stuff and your long stuff.
That's it. I'm getting rid of my wedges. I'm putting back a 2 and a 1 iron.
There you go. Both blades. Thanks for checking the video, guys. Like, share,
Beautiful.
subscribe. We'll see
Thanks,
you next
mate.
time. Thanks, mate. Well, we're back. We forgot something.
We're back. So, now, talking about the clubs and how many makeups.
Yep.
Wayne Persky, a coach out here, having a chat with him one day, and he was saying as a kid, him and his mates used to go out and play a whole round of golf with just a pitching wedge.
Yeah.
So they had to drive with it, putt with it, everything else. He
Yeah.
felt that it taught him more imagination,
Of course.
lots of different shots, right?
No, totally
And do you
agree.
think that sometimes people would benefit from maybe going and playing some golf with not as many clubs?
100%. Like you were saying, that if you wanted to play a par 4, you needed a knife, a pitching wedge, or something like that to get at 200 metres or 180
Well,
metres.
to get as long as you
So
can, yeah.
you had to develop skill in how to hit the middle of the face or the low part of the face or high part of the face or open it up,
Yep.
manipulate a lot. And that gets me onto Sevi Ballesteros, 3-iron out of bunkers, his little 3-iron dinky, rinky thing that he had. He's pretty good. Bubba Watson, 7-iron. It's the same thing.
Hybrid out of the bunker.
Richo with hybrid out of the bunker. It makes you manipulate it and understand what the face is doing and what your path is doing to get a desired result. There you go. Cheers, guys. See you next time.
Beautiful.